Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Tristana supplementary guide, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of Tristana's top rank builds. Now this is not the top rank build. The top rank build is still the same as the one that I use, which is basically this one, the one without IE, going from BT Quick Blades into the Blaster and more Reminder. But I realized that multiple Tristana players, I'm not talking about one guy, I'm talking about like at least 3 guys in the top 10 are using this build. And I found this build, well, pretty unusual to say the least. And I like to call this Machine Gun Tristana just because you attack very, very quickly. As you can see, this whole build is basically just attack speed items. Now, I would make some changes to the build personally, which I will go over later, but I'm going to explain the top rank build first and some of the rationale behind it before I get a little bit into that. So first up, we start with the Gluttonous Greaves, no surprise there, AD Omnivamps, and also no surprise, Bloodthirster first item, AD Physical Vamp, extra AD and attack speed when you're high on health. Pretty standard best ADC first item for a majority of ADCs. And then you go into the Magnetic Blaster. So, if you guys notice here, you're basically going for like all attack speed items after this. So basically you go for Magnetic Blaster, gives you the bonus range as well as attack speed. Phantom Dancer gives you a little bit of AD, a ton of attack speed, and the movement speed as well. And then we go for Bork. Bork, of course, again, more attack speed, a little bit of AD. What's important here is number 1, you get more physical vamp. Number 2, you get the on-hit current health damage, which is very useful in this tank meta. And finally, you top it off with a Mole Reminder for some armor pen, as well as, of course, the Grievous Wounds. Now, a few changes that I might make to this build is maybe swapping the item order around a little bit, because I think Mole Reminder last item is a little bit too late. So I would maybe put it earlier, something like this or like this even. However, I get why you go for Bork before Mole Reminder, which is to get the on-hit health damage. So maybe I would even go for something like this and put the Phantom Dancer as a last item. Although the problem here is that Phantom Dancer does the most attack speed of all of these items. So this kind of puts your attack speed a little bit to the back. But I still think that this build order makes a little bit more sense, because I think going for Mole Reminder as a last item is a little bit late. Then next up we have the runes, and runes definitely I'm going to be making some changes here if I had the choice. So for the runes, they go for Lethal Tempo, doubling down on the attack speed. So you already have a ton of attack speed from like these 3 items. Then you go for Lethal Tempo again, and you attack really, really quickly. You will see in the gameplay later, we are just machine gunning people down, although each attack doesn't do as much damage as usual, because of course you're building a lot of attack speed and not a lot of attack damage, but you attack so quickly. Then Brutal, of course, because you auto-attack a lot. Now, you're going to get a lot of Brutal value just because of how much you auto-attack. And then they go for Coup de Grace, but obviously we're going to go for, the Giant Slayer. In the gameplay, I simply just copied the build, so I did take Coup de Grace in the gameplay, but I think that this makes very little sense. Giant Slayer is, a lot more logical, as a rune. And here they take Bloodline, which of course makes a lot of sense, considering how much attack speed you already have. You don't need a Legend Alacrity here, you want Bloodline. And of course, Bone Plating for the defensive capabilities makes a lot of sense as well. Now, I personally would change it to Kraken Slayer. Now, Kraken Slayer does skill with AD. You don't have a lot of AD in this build. You do have a little bit from here and here, as well as just a tiny amount from like the last 3 items. Not a lot, but you are having very high attack speed. Now, if you have very high attack speed, you can proc a Kraken Slayer a lot more often than if you didn't. So I would go for Kraken Slayer here personally, but of course, I did follow the top build and go for Lethal Tempo. Then for the spells, I do agree with this one. We want to go for Flash as well as the Exhaust. Of course, Tristana likes to 1v1 people with her bomb. Generally can outdamage people. With the Exhaust, guarantees you win the 1v1s. But with all that said, let's move on to talking about our gameplay. Okay, so hopping into our gameplay itself. Again, just very briefly, what kind of support's good with Tristana? Honestly, Tristana kind of works with any support. She works well with enchanters like Janna, Lulu, Nami, or whatever enchanters who want to protect you. She also works very well with engagers like Nautilus, Leona, Alistar, etc. Now, personally, as a personal preference, I prefer to play with engagers like Leona, because this allows them to engage in lane, and this is then going to allow me to get on top of someone and then snowball the game off of early kills, which is what we're gonna try to do in this particular game. Whether we're successful or not remains to be seen. But that's the general idea of why you want to play Tristana with an engager. Again, that's my personal preference. The other way to play Tristana is you just play to scale. When you get to like 3 items or around there, and you have an enchanter, you basically will do a lot of damage, and you're really difficult to kill because you have an enchanter with you, and it's gonna just, you know, make it such that you're a late game hyper carry. Now, as I mentioned in like my tier list, I do think that Tristana is one of the best ADCs. Speaking of engaging, here in goes the Leona. I'm focusing the Sona, and then we actually get the Sona, and the Xayah is really low, almost dies. You know, I generally just go for the target that Leona engages on. So in this case, she engages on Sona, so I'm going for Sona. I could have targeted Xayah, to be fair, but either way, we do get a kill onto the Sona. So, yeah, overall, it is looking good. It's a good start to the game already. You know, grabbing a quick early game kill and starting to get the snowball rolling. Of course, the important part about snowballing with Tristana, which is why I think going with an engager is better, is because Tristana has a mid-game power trough, which is kind of just a really weird kind of thing where before we talk about that, we go on to the Kaisa. Of course, we step to the side so we don't get damaged or rooted by the feathers, and we easily pick up a free kill onto Xayah, which again is the whole point of playing with engager. So back to the mid-game power trough kind of discussion slash point I was trying to make, is that she has this really weird like, you know, power level thing where, same as like Caitlyn, they both have very strong early games and late games, but they have a really strange like weakness in the mid game where, like, on 2 items, a lot of ADCs are going to be stronger than you, because most ADCs scale like linearly, so every item they get stronger and stronger. But whereas with like Tristana and Caitlyn, that is true, you do get stronger. Of course, you can't be getting weaker when you're getting items, but your 2 items compared to their 2 items, you're just not as strong. So the only way you can counteract this weakness is to snowball, which basically means you get your 2 items before they get, you know, their second item. So you get, for example, they're on 1 item and you're on 2 items, so obviously you're going to be way stronger than them simply due to the fact that you have double of their items. And then this is going to snowball all the way into getting, you know, having 1 item, 1.5 item leads throughout the whole game, and this is going to translate to just simply just being stronger than them throughout the whole game, and you get to the part where you get to 3 items and you're outscaling them anyways. So here, I try to save the Leona by exhausting the Shen when he commits, but he still ends up going, Leona still ends up going down, but overall we end up trading 1 for 3, so we are going to take that trade any day of the week. Furthermore, I pick up 2 tower plates, which is basically equivalent to another kill. So you can see I am now super duper fed, snowballing out of my mind. I have like about double the goal of Xayah, slightly under double the goal of Xayah at this point, so we are in an insane position, really fed, and this is kind of where you want to be. Now honestly, as a Tristana at this point in the game, like based on how fed I am, basically whenever Leona engages on Sona or Xayah, it should be an easy and free kill. Now if you go in on someone else like Shen, you know, it could be a different story because Shen is tanky, but pretty much this lane is over for them. They can't really do anything at this point. If they just overstep or make a mistake, they are basically dead. Like here, you can see Leona fishing for an engager. With the engagement, it doesn't matter. We just need to wait for the cooldown to come back up and we go again. You know, that's all we really need to do in this particular game. Pretty easy, pretty simple. And yeah. So here we're just keeping the wave frozen right outside our tower, which basically gives a greater chance of Leona getting a successful engage, because they have to step up and attack minions. So either they have to walk away and lose minions, or they have to step up and put themselves at risk of getting engaged on by Leona. Leona hasn't hit the past 2 Zenith Blades, but still, you know, the concept is there that, you know, we want to keep them here so that Leona has a chance to engage. And yeah, so once again, just keeping the wave here. Leona whiffs a 3rd Zenith Blade, unfortunately, so no real engage here. We don't really want to jump in ourselves or anything like that, because, you know, that is, yeah, that wouldn't be very good. It could work out still, but I wouldn't do that because it's a higher risk play. Here we complete our Bloodthirster, so, you know, first item completed together with the boots before objective spawn. In a really good spot. Master Yi pings that he's going to go for the Herald. And now, because we've bagged, this gives time for the enemy bot lane to push out. Here Sona gets caught by Leona with the Leona ulti, and I'm just going to pop her instantly. Xayah ultis. I try to hop away from the feathers, but I still get hit by it while I'm in mid-hop. So that was kind of awkward. But anyways, we get the we have the Bloodthirst, so we can basically heal up off of the minion wave. So we're back to a relatively healthy state. And yeah, Xayah doesn't have ulti, so she can get dive, but I decided to go for the tower instead. It's a more consistent play here. So we do get basically all of the tower plates except for one. Shen actually ults the Xayah for some reason, even though we're not really in an active fight. Shen looks like he wants to go in on us instead. Here I'm just, you know, trying to get some free chip damage onto Shen, who doesn't actually have any range. The stun comes in from the Sona, so I'm just going to buffer the jump to get myself to safety, just in case I get chain CC'd. Now my team is doing the dragon, and it's a full-on rotation. Leona engage comes in again. We're gonna just pop the Sona, jumping after the Xayah, but Xayah flashes to safety. And now we're gonna go back to the main fight in the dragon pit. Multiple 1 HP health bars here. Huge root goes in by the Shen. I'm trying to hop over and see if I can, you know, catch these people. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I wore over the wall. Yeah, can't quite catch them. So we still, I believe, we don't have the Herald. Shen actually has the Herald. So we are going to have to do it the hard way, which is to just get the tower just by auto-attacking. With 3 people on the mid lane tower, we're still trying to get that first tower, because despite the fact that enemy team has Herald, we can still try to go for tower. Unfortunately, Volibear, I believe, is tanking the tower because he got taunted by Shen, and he ends up going down. But we do get the first tower of the game, and we also get all of the plates. So if you guys take a look at my gold currently, I'm nearly at 7k gold. On the enemy team, the person with the most gold at the moment is Shen, who has 5k gold, so we have a huge lead over the enemy team. And my team as a whole has a 4k gold lead. Although if you guys take a look at the gold values comparatively, pretty much majority of the lead is on me, and maybe Leona as well with a little bit of a lead. Here, I'm just blasting in the backline. I'm taking quite a bit of damage, so I'm trying to be a little bit cautious here, not to jump too far in. You can see that I'm using my Bloodthirster to kind of heal myself up. I get a triple kill here, and might be a quadra kill. It is a quadra kill onto the Sona. And here I'm actually running up, not exactly for the pentakill, but just because Xayah is pushing in my tower, and you know we can't allow that to happen. Not when we are so fed. So since we are already here though, and the minion wave has only 1 minion left, I'm just gonna check the bush to see if Xayah is here. She shouldn't be. She should be walking all the way back to tower 2 back, which is what she does. And here we are going to just go for this tower, which we already gotten really low beforehand. 3 auto attacks is enough to finish off the tower. And here we can either back, or we can actually venture into the enemy jungle to counter jungle. But here, since I have iron completion, I'm going to back and pick up my blaster together with the components for the Phantom Dancer. So here, coming out of base, we're just going to run to mid lane. Since we already got the top lane tower, you know, we can go there. Now, our top lane tower is really low as well, and it does have a bounty on it. Xayah is shown backing, so we know that we can come here to catch the minion wave and prevent our tower from going down. This minion wave is not going to destroy our tower regardless, but you know, it's really difficult to prevent the enemy team from getting your outer towers, because the outer towers are really easy to take just because of how hard it is to rotate between your towers. So generally, enemy team is going to be able to get that if you're really far ahead. You are going to have to give up some bounties on the outer towers. But you know, we can try to prevent it for as long as we can, which is kind of what we're doing here. Now here we're just auto-attacking Xayah. Ult goes in from the Leona. Xayah gets chain CC, dies before she gets a chance to ult, which is exactly the idea. Here we accidentally attack the red buff as we're just walking down, smacking our auto attack button. Sona gets a huge stun, and here honestly really easy to dive here with the Volibear. Unfortunately, the bomb goes onto the tower instead of the Shen, which is kind of troll, and yeah, kind of a little bit awkward here. We do get 2 kills. Leona ends up going down because she's tanking 2 towers. And Irelia is able to pick up a bounty on the outer tower in the bot lane while all of this is happening. She is just, you know, committing to the split push. Shen goes in, gets CC twice, and is taking a huge amount of damage. Xayah tries to come in with the root, but you can see that I'm just blasting her into next week. I finish her off with the ult auto combo to shove her away, and my auto follows through, and she ends up going down. So here I'm gonna going for the mid lane inhibitor. Shen shows up. I'm just gonna hop away and continue blasting him, you know, stacking up the lethal tempo. Sona is really low but stuns me twice, so I'm gonna flash away because there is 3 people here that's damaging me, and I don't quite want to take that kind of damage. So here, placing just a ward for vision, one of the best ward spots in the game. When you've taken the 2 mid lane towers is that spot, because that's a very high traffic area that you can see multiple people coming from. Here we complete the Phantom Dancer, and now we're reaching that kind of machine gun status where we're going to just be auto-attacking really quickly, especially when we get our lethal tempo stacked. Just helping Master Yi out with the blue buff just a little bit. Of course, we don't want to steal the blue buff. We're just going to grab it since we're here. Actually, honestly, we should have given it to Ahri. Ahri can probably make use of blue buff better than me, because Tristana doesn't really have mana problems. Here the dragon is up, but there's a fight happening at top, so I'm going to leave Master Yi to do the fight, and I'm just going to come in from behind. Going to eliminate the support first. She has a stasis for some reason, so I'm going to go for Shen instead. She ends up going down eventually to, I believe it's my red buff, and here I'm just trying to help out the Leona to kill the Swain. I try to kind of shove him away to prevent Leona from dying, but the AoE from his ulti just a little bit too big. Leona still ends up going down. So yeah, at this point, I'm 12-0-6 with 12k gold in the pocket. Like basically nearly as much gold as like, you know, 2 people on an enemy team combined. So we're so fed at this point. The main thing we just want to do is to not give up our bounty. I think we have like a 1k gold bounty at this point. So we don't want to give that gold bounty up, especially not to Irelia and Xayah, especially because they are like really fed. So here I'm coming in off of the flank. Here, I honestly thought I was gonna die here, but somehow I actually end up surviving by hopping over the wall, and I'm actually gonna be able to run away. I actually bait the Irelia into the Ahri. She eats a charm and she ends up going down. Here I'm gonna help Ahri leash the buff a little bit, and of course we're gonna let her grab the buff. Here another fight ends up breaking out. I jump into a taunt, which actually is fine because I don't mind being taunted because I'm just auto attacking them for free anyways. And I actually ult them out of the Shun W so that I can damage them for, you know, with my auto attacks instead of just doing nothing, pretty much. So here red buff share is up. I'm gonna grab that off of the recall as well and complete my next item, which in this case is going to be the Bork. Of course, Bork is actually really good in this game because we have Shun and the Swain, who both have a lot of health. And Irelia also is building health. She has Triforce, which does give a little bit of health as well, so getting all that extra damage is going to be pretty helpful with the on-hit current health damage. Now we just melt the Baron here, obviously, and yeah, so full machine gun status online, ready to kind of just blast someone into next week. 2 auto attacks onto the Sona. Fight kind of breaks out. I'm gonna hop into position to DPS. There we go. 1 kill down. Volibear is going in. I'm just blasting. I'm starting to tank tower, so I get rooted under tower. I'm gonna have to back off a little bit. Huge tower damage comes in onto me. I'm just gonna blast the tower and get rid of the problem first, and we ace the enemy team, which basically is the end of the game. So you can see how strong this build can be, but yeah, I still prefer the normal build. I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.